Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frankly Speaking series. Today, we have with us Bruce Laing, who is going to talk about his experience. And the way I know him is as a division director, but more as a friend and somebody who is so invested in Toastmasters because over years he's taken up several roles in leadership, in mentoring, in supporting district and building it. And we are so fortunate to have him here with us today. Hi, Bruce. Thank you so much for taking time out for the members of District 60 today. We know how busy you are, and we know that because of the number of times we have seen you in several contests and several events, and all of us are familiar with you. So welcome to Frankly Speaking series, Bruce.
Thank you, Yuta. Looking forward to it.
Brilliant. So, Bruce, I am going to start with a very easy question and something that people are really intrigued about. How long have you been a Toastmaster?
Well, I paid my dues in October 2006, but my membership began on the 1st of November. It's an easy date for me to remember, as it's also my father's birthday. The month and day, that is. He was not born in 2006, but rather 1926, and sadly passed away this past September, less than 2 months shy of his 97th birthday. So 18 years.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Bruce. We have seen a lot of pictures of yours with your dad and absolutely love those moments that you've spent with him.
Yeah, thank you.
Bruce, what brought you to Toastmasters and what has kept you here for so long?
Well, that's an easy one, as I've mentioned it in my icebreakers several times. I belong to 5 paths, but I haven't said the same thing in every single icebreaker. My team lead at the time, or at work at the time, suggested it to our manager for he and I, thinking that it would be good for the both of us. I had never heard of Toastmasters before, and no, I didn't think of toasting bread, as some people joke about. I knew of toasts at events, so I figured it had something to do with that and speaking in particular. We checked out one club first, but it was too stuffy. It just wasn't for us. Then a coworker of ours mentioned her husband used to be part of a club across the street from where our office was. We checked that out and we joined right afterwards.
I'm sure a lot of people who are not a part of District 60 right now are watching this and they would realize that Toastmasters has so much to offer when they listen to your reasons for joining us.
Hopefully.
Perfect. So, Bruce, how has Toastmasters impacted you? And I'm talking both personally, professionally, maybe even socially. How has it changed you?
Great question. And it has in both aspects. With my personal life, over the years, I've become more aware, with listening and watching being 2 skills that I mentioned to new members that will aid them in their Toastmasters journey. I'm more careful with what I say, how it's said, because I don't want to upset or hurt anyone. I was known for having a quick tongue, spoke without thinking, is another way of saying it. And I'll admit it sometimes got me in trouble and was embarrassing. And it hurt me more, to be honest, knowing I had potentially upset someone. For my professional life, it helped me secure the role of manager in the accounting department of the travel company I was working for. I only got to do it for 2 years, though, because of COVID-19. A worldwide pandemic and a travel company do not go hand in hand. As we all know, the tourism industry was hit incredibly hard. I was placed on temporary leave for 14 months after working from home for just 1 month, and then permanently let go at the end of June 2021. So Toastmasters aided in both personally and professionally for myself.
Something for me to learn there because I have been, I would call it spontaneous to be positive, spontaneous in responding to a lot of people. But yes, sometimes it does get me into trouble. And I think that's one skill I would definitely want to learn from Toastmasters. Thank you for sharing that. So, Bruce, I am aware that you are a founding member of 3 different clubs, and you have also been a part of a lot of clubs. So, tell us about your journey, your signature. That's so fascinating because there is so much mentioned. And I think sometimes your signature is way longer than your emails. So what's behind that? What's the story of your signature?
That's a funny one because I've been told that I need to cut back on what I say when with the written word. So sometimes my emails are shorter than what my email signature is. Yes, I belong to, or sorry, I've been a charter member of 3 clubs, Art, Advanced World Toastmasters, which I still belong with, Atria Toastmasters, which folded, unfortunately, and that was in District 123, and D60 Alt, Advanced Leadership Toastmasters, still going here in District 60. I belong to 3, member of 3 clubs, which is my home club, the one across the street that I mentioned from the office, Sun Life Speakers Corner in C33, Art in C31, and Toronto Liberty Village Speakers in B22. The other things that I mentioned in my email signature is that I'm also the District 60's newsletter editor for 6 years running. Nobody can top that, I bet. I enjoy doing it. It's behind the scenes. I'm not out front in front of people. And I've been told I have an eagle eye when it comes to seeing the written word in postings or letters or social media posts. That I'm club president of Sunlight Speakers Corner for the 4th time, but not in a row. I'm a charter member and VP of Education for Art, Advanced World Toastmasters, and I'm also VP Education and SAA for Toronto Liberty Village Speakers. At the bottom of my email signature is where people get intrigued by what is stated there. I'm an honorary member. I don't pay dues to a club in England called Worcester Speakers and a club in Finland, Tampere Toastmasters. I was actually just there earlier this morning. I used to visit regularly 4 other clubs in England, 2 clubs in Ireland, and 1 club in California. Club number 5, actually. So that's how old they are. But all of them decided to go back to 100% in person. So therefore they dropped the international aspect of it and didn't. Some did try hybrid, but others just didn't bother keeping it and stuff. So their loss. That's all I can say. They're missing out on the international world environment. And that's so. Thank you for that.
Wow. And what makes you go to so many clubs across borders?
The interesting way of seeing how the clubs are run. I've always said that every club is different, and they are. What started my international journey, and I've visited clubs in 60 countries around the world. That's nothing compared to what some of my Toastmaster friends internationally have been to. But it started with the international president at the time, Richard E. Peck, when he was on a world tour, if you want to call it that, of international clubs. His goal was to visit 1 club in every country that had a Toastmasters presence. At that time, and I think it changed by a number, 1 or 2, but at that time, most of the time he was saying 142 countries. I believe it's up to 144, maybe 145 now, but he didn't quite reach the 142 because some of the clubs that he reached out to just didn't get back to him. So that's, I mean, their loss really for that. Maybe they stopped doing meetings because it was online or something, but that was basically their loss for not having him present as well as welcoming the international community. It was great to visit countries that English isn't their first language. There was one country I remember, Moldova in Eastern Europe, and at the time, or at the one meeting that I went to with the international president, they had stated that it was their first meeting ever being done in English. And it was amazing. You wouldn't know that English was excellent by everybody that I knew or heard speak. So it was amazing. There was a club visit to a club in Colombia where it was done in Spanish, so I didn't understand anything, but I could visually get a grasp of their speech and what they're talking about. And if I was an evaluator, I could comment on gestures and body language, floor coverage, facial expressions, eye contact, that kind of thing. But I wasn't an evaluator. I was just there as an international guest, just watching. And Puerto Rico was another country that I visited that did it actually in a mix of both Spanish and English. So it was done well. But yeah, it was an interesting time for visitors around the world to visit clubs, and it brought the word international into the organization's name, Toastmasters International. So I welcomed the online format. I still do. And obviously with my visits continually in England and Finland, they love me. I'm usually timer at both of the clubs, but I do help out every so often with other roles, because that's basically what I was doing with all the other clubs, was just offering my assistants to take on a role if they were short in something. And that's what I did. I think I was asked to be a speaker 3 times, but I did mention to them that I wanted to avoid being a prepared speaker, just because I wanted their members to get involved in Pathways and continue their journey that way. Thank you.
Not just music, but you make it sound like Toastmasters also is beyond language, beyond words, because international experience that you've got is amazing, and you've been going to different countries, and even witnessing speeches where you don't understand the language, but there is something that you get from it, and there is something that you can offer to those clubs. That's so wonderful, Bruce. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now that makes me think about your journey as a leader. You spoke to us about the different roles you've taken up in different clubs, as the president, as the VP of education, your role in the PR committee, but you've also had district officers' roles. You have been area director twice. You have been a division director. You were my division director when I first became an area director in District 60, and I had a fabulous experience with you. And I know how busy you are, because of how dedicated you are, because of how available you want to be for the district. But how is Bruce's experience as an area director, as a division director, as a leader of District 60 Toastmasters?
It was good. I was well, more than good. I remember the first time I was an area director, I was following in my club president of Sunlight Speakers Corners footsteps, because he was president, and then I took over president. And while I was president, he was an area director in Division F. And the following year, after being president, I became division area director. He was an area director in Division F, and I followed in his footsteps of being an area director in Division F. And that was very interesting. It was all in person at that time, of course. Excuse me. And I got to visit the different clubs at numerous occasions. And towards the end of my term of area director, I knew who was going to be, who was wanting to be the area director. So I went with him to the different clubs to introduce him as the next area director. I think I did that in the month of either June or July. So that's just to help him out. And I was his mentor for that year of being an area director. The second time, I volunteered because they were in desperate need of having area directors. So I did that, and that was just prior to my year as division director, I believe. So I got to know the clubs in Division C, and also in area C33, because it was home to my home club of Sunlight Speakers Corner. This past year, being a division director, I had a great team of area directors, yourself, of course, included. And that was a big leadership learning curve. But I took it in. I felt I did a good job, maybe a great job, I don't know. But it was like I said, it was a learning curve. I embraced it. I learned a lot from it. And would I do it again? Probably, just not right away, but in time and that. So overall, it was more than good. It was pretty good, and that for the district leader roles. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. You did a great job as a division director because you made it so easy for the area directors to operate. You had all the answers. You knew what needs to be done. You were there to give directions. You were there to support. I think you've been a fabulous division director. So thank you so much for making my journey in District 60 so amazing. I was new to District 60 at that time, and thanks to you that I fell in love with this district, and I'm continuing doing so many things here. So kudos to you for that, Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bruce, as we come to the end of this interview, I want to ask you if you have any message for the members of District 60.
That's another great question. Besides my get involved phrase that I use to mention to all members, and that because what I tell my members is to get involved. The more you do, the more you learn about Toastmasters, the organization, the club, the area, the division, and the district, and that's what I did. So it's only great advice to other people. The other thing that I want to say is to give it a chance. What I've seen with a lot of new members is the inactivity of them. Some are gung-ho right from the get-go with getting involved, and that's a joy to see. Attending meetings at least semi-regularly will benefit you. The more you attend, the more you'll get out of it. And when attending meetings initially, watch and listen. Pay attention to what's happening. Watch the flow. Listen to what's being said. You will learn, trust me. Then start with the smaller roles. Have a mentor or a veteran member guide you online beforehand or sit beside you in person while you're taking on that role during a meeting. Because that's the best way to learn, is to have somebody who has done it before guide you through that process. So get involved and give it a chance. What is my message to the readers and listeners of this? Thank you, Yuta.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Bruce. This has been fantastic. I enjoyed doing this interview with you, and I always enjoy having a conversation with you. You're such a fabulous person. You're such a fabulous Toastmaster. And anybody who's watching this interview today, I urge you to get in touch with Bruce and get his guidance, learn from him, because there's so much that Bruce has to offer. And Toastmasters is not as limited as public speaking and leadership, but Toastmasters can build your life. And with somebody like Bruce, if you get in touch with him, you get to hear his stories. I'm sure it's going to help you build your own lives, and we have long ways to go. Thank you so much, Bruce. This has been fantastic.
Oh, you're welcome, Yuka. Thank you for even suggesting me be part of Frankly Speaking. So I've watched several of the podcasts and interviews beforehand, and I think it started a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I'm glad it's being continued. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.